TOA community, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Robert Linkle here. I want to talk to you about this guy, this social media influencer as he calls himself, Dr. Mike. Come on, man. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. This guy, you're going to listen to this guy? He's a really good buddy of mine, Dr. Jonathan Mike. He's, you should listen to him. He's a really good dude. And a good friend of mine, I've known him for a decade, if not longer. We work in the NSCA together, buddies. He's presented at events of mine. Fantastic man. Just helped me a ton with a chapter in Human Kinetics book that I'm writing. Was helping me with some editing. As that's not a terribly common thing that I've done. He does a lot of authoring and publishing. So I appreciate all the help there, my man. Anyhow, I want to review this post that he put up, as he's talking about this review of older adult training research that's been done kind of across the board. And I think this is a very cool thing. It's like a meta-analysis where they kind of do this overall broad, like a general, for the non-researching minds out there. And again, all you researchers might hear this and be like, this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking. I'm not a researcher, dude. I'm not. I read the stuff that you guys do and I figure out how to apply it, okay? So when I'm sitting here talking about what's a meta-analysis, I don't really know. I need an article like this to explain it to me. And that's what I love about this is John goes, hey, let's do a research, let's look at this research article that looked at like almost 3,000 articles using the same words: older adults, power, strength, seniors, training, sarcopenia, osteopenia. Like they kind of use like these key words. And let's see research articles that kind of reference another one and that found similar results. Well, we can cancel out one of those because we already have one that referenced that kind of material. And let's trickle it down and find like the most efficient and most effective articles. And so they went from like 2,800 articles, almost 3,000 articles, down to 16 that like really gave you all the best info. And then from there, what were the findings, okay? So he talks on here a little bit about the aging process being characterized as a degeneration of various physiological systems, including neuromuscular systems, which leads to the loss of muscular strength and power. What do we know that to be called, people? What's the word? Say it with me. Sarcopenia. Yeah, that's the word. Everybody knows obesity. Everybody knows osteoporosis. Nobody knows sarcopenia. This is the new word, okay? Osteopenia, sarcopenia. These are the two new words. When they combined with the others, you have osteosarcobesity. That's the big three. And these are the biggest issues facing our older adults today. But what's number one? What's the one that really sticks out over all that? It's the loss of muscular mass and function. Sarcopenia, not atrophy, and function. Okay, that's the key part that separates atrophy from sarcopenia. The point where you can't function and do what you used to do. And this is a gradual aging process, right basically around 30 to 35, where you're going to kind of hit your peak and we're going to start going down. So unless something else happens, things are going to go in a negative direction. So what are we going to do to help it not go in such a steep direction or to help level it out for as long as we can? That's what this meta-analysis started to look at. What a charming, good-looking guy right there, huh? You can see we share the same barber. All right, so what did they do? We talked about this meta-analysis where they basically looked at anything that was power and strength training based. They reviewed average people 65 and older, 2,759 articles, as I said, almost 3,000 articles, of which 1,534 entries, preliminary screening screen after removal of duplicates, okay? So basically they went through and they're like anything that referenced or did the exact same research and found the same thing, they just kind of scratched it and trickled down. A total of 16 studies were included in the review. Total study population, there were 583 participants in one and the other had 277. So basically they do a little breakdown of how many participants, male and female, etc. And what did they find? So basically 15 trials, 583 participants were included in this meta-analysis. The result indicated a statistically significant, that means more than 2.5% of significant finding, if not more, right? Benefit for power training on all reported outcomes. Anything and everything they tested people on, if they included power training, they all got better. Everybody improved. So it was just like across the board power training works, okay? Which is awesome. The results indicating a significant benefit of power training compared to strength versus muscular power and other activity and tested activities. So if they took people and said, well, let's just train you for strength training and let's just train you for power training, which one, be pre-tested for whatever their standards were. Let's do a vertical jump or a plate squat, where they're standing on a force plate to see how much they can handle, or whatever it was, inverted rows and body weights and push-ups or throwing something for distance, whatever they used to test, because he didn't do like a breakdown of what they actually used. Whatever the criteria was for the test, they trained for a while. Some trained via only power, the others trained only via strength. And then they retested them. And everybody improved across the board, but the power training individuals improved more. So what does this mean? Okay, and that's what John, I love his Instagram because it breaks things down. Like, how do you use this in real life? What are we talking about? In older adults, muscular power is more critical than just training physical strength. It doesn't mean that training physical strength wasn't valuable. It's definitely valuable. And what's the difference? Okay, what's the difference between power training and strength training? And this is where a lot of people specifically look at this and they go, well, how do I train power for older adults? They can't do bounds and Olympic lifts and they can't do plyometrics. Well, just because most people hear the word power and they think of depth jumps, box jumps, cleans, snatches, jerks, like you think of these power-based Olympic lifts that are very explosive, very dynamic, they think, well, that's how you do power training. Not necessarily, okay? Part of my new chapter in the book, so I was very honored and accepted an opportunity to author the chapter inside the NSCA's new second edition of power training. And in power training, they're looking at all demographics across the board. So they have older adults, me, they have youth, Rodri, my buddy Rodri. They have for women, for youth, and then per sport, per sports performance, or your football, basketball, etc. How do you train for power production? And so the one chapter that was specific for older adults was my section, and we had to look at that and go, what is the best way to train? So in there's a couple of articles that I reference where it shows anywhere between 40 and 80% of a 1 rep max, or a 4 to 8 of an RPE, rate of perceived exertion, is ideal to do tempo-based, regular resistance training exercises, but with lighter load that you would move very quickly and then control back down. So at its most simple format, a selectorized chest press machine, okay? You would normally get on with 80 pounds and you could do a 1-1000, 1-1000, 1-1000, 1-1000. That would be kind of a normal, just a basic strength training program. So if 80 is my max to do 10 of those, I would cut it down to like 40 or 50, okay? So I'm gonna cut it down in weight, and I would fire it out as quick as I could and bring it down slow, fire out quick and bring it back slow, fire it out quick and bring it back slow. And so I would try to change direction and accelerate that load out as quick as I could, and then eccentrically slow it down and pull it back, right? And so it's almost like an isokinetic machine tempo that you would try to create, a push and a pull and a push and a pull, and you could get pressure both ways, even though on these machines they don't work like that. You are trying to simulate something with lighter load, more dynamic, more explosive, okay? Now I could do that with a release lift as well, which would be on, say, a leg press, where when you would go to leg press, you would try to pop the plate an inch off of your feet, where you just gave it a little bit of air between your foot and the platform. You're not trying to throw it and it comes slamming back at you. You just want to pop it quick enough to where it just bounces off your foot just a little bit, where you gave a little explosive drive at the very end. So let's say you do 250 pounds on the leg press, go down to like 180 and get some speed and just try to accelerate, get a little pop on it. Or maybe you're on a Smith machine doing bench press and you actually let go of the bar where it floats out of your hand just a half an inch and then you return it back down. You could literally throw the bar up the Smith machine and bring it back down and catch it. It's a little more dangerous, but okay, the point is there's a way to train for power with just regular fitness equipment with older populations without doing plyometrics and Olympic lifts necessarily. And then what I mean by Olympic lifts is we don't always have to use barbells. That's, again, where everybody's mind defaults to. Well, I have clients that can't hold a barbell over their head to do overhead squats. How are they going to snatch? I don't either. Hardly any of my clients could put a barbell over their head and overhead squat. But all of my clients can put a single arm dumbbell or a fat bell, as we use in-house. They can all do snatches. They can all do cleans. They can all do jerks. Every single one of my clients, from my youngest being, 40, to my oldest being 92, 93, they can all do snatches, cleans, and jerks with a single arm dumbbell or a fat bell, okay? So yeah, we do Olympic lifts, but how else do we train power? What's my favorite way to train power is with release drills. And that's why I just got, if you saw my Instagram, I just showed a couple more pictures of the new sand kettlebells from Go Ruck that I just got. You could use sand bells from Hyperwear. You could use sandbags from any place, anywhere that has an implement that is squishy and pliable and won't do damage to the ground or damage to itself when you throw it, okay? So now think of it this way. With everything that I just explained to you, all the equipment that I just explained, what was the one thing that I had to do at the end of every range to be able to do the next lift? I had to slow it down, I had to control it, and I had to redirect it. And in most cases, gravity is going to help us do that, okay? However, I still have to slow it down, stop it, and redirect it, or at least stop it and receive it, right, wherever I'm bringing that weight to, the clean, the snatch, etc. So when do I really get to do 100% effort and not have to worry about the momentum that I just created? In a release drill, a throwing lift, where I could do a single arm, like a single arm swing, but on my second swing, I'm gonna release and throw the implement up and over my head like I'm trying to throw it onto the roof, like I'm trying to throw it over a pole vault upright, right? Up and over a 10-foot bar, an 11-foot bar, a 12-foot bar. You could keep doing that. That's the point of having these implements, so you can throw them. So I can do 100% of my effort and simply let go at the top and let all of that power transfer go into the implement rather than me trying to accelerate my body off the floor with jumping, bounding, plyometric exercises, whatever they are you want to do. I don't have to propel myself off the ground. I can drive like I'm going to and then throw all that momentum into the implement, and then my body gets to do a follow through and a let go that gets to drive all that force into the implement. But I still get the ground reaction and the acceleration and the follow. I still get all of that great strength training, power training component to accelerating the load, but I don't have to slow it down. I don't have to stop it. I don't have to put on the brakes. I can just let go. So what do you need for that? Number one, you have to always keep your eyes on your implement. These are the rules of throwing implements, okay? You always keep your eyes on it. Number two, you never turn your back to the ring, as throwers say. You never turn your back to the person that's throwing, because the individual throwing isn't always looking in the direction they're going to throw. Sometimes I'm looking that way, but I'm throwing the implement up and behind me and it's going to land back there somewhere. So it's not, number three, it's not my duty to not hit you. It's your duty to not get hit. So never take your eyes off your implement. Never turn your back to someone throwing. And number three, get the hell out of the way. It's your job not to get hit, okay? If you do those three things, coaches, and your clients are successful at doing that, athletes, okay, you can continue to throw implements. But if it starts getting dangerous, implements are just passing each other's faces, you're just barely, or somebody gets tagged, okay, we're in trouble. Another rule, never catch an implement that's been thrown. Never, never, never. You know, all these folks out there, they want to play medicine ball chest pass back and forth, maybe with a Nerf ball, maybe with a 4-pound Dynamax ball, maybe. But these implements, they have handles, they have sewed components, they have welds, they have ridges. I've seen way too many people come back with their finger, you know, sticking out sideways because they threw a 15-pound sandbag in the air and tried to catch it and snap their finger in half. Just let it hit the ground, do a proper pickup, and then throw it again, okay? So maybe it's not as fast. Maybe you can't just crank out 10 in a row really quick, but I'll tell you the effort of slowing down and doing it individually with each one, that effort and that output is going to produce way more power than you just gassing through 10 reps in 15 seconds. I'd rather you take a minute, literally, take it 60 seconds, and do a throw every 7 seconds and get them all in and do them well, do them right, do them efficiently, very explosively. Now we're training for power. No negative impact necessarily back on the body. I didn't leave the ground and have to land, right? I think that was a double negative. No negative, no negative impacts. There isn't a negative impact back on the body. Meaning that if I were to jump off a box, okay, that could be anywhere from like 5 to 15 times my body load hitting the ground, depending on how high the box is. It's a lot of impact back on my body. That is negative impact, as we call that, okay? I want only positive acceleration here. My My aging body, my 65-year-olds, as we've talked about here, are not equipped physically unless you are a specimen of an athlete that's been training your entire 65 years at a high level to do a depth jump where you step off of a 12-inch box, hit the ground, and then jump again like a cat. Like, if you have the ability to do that and not hurt yourself, you are of the less than 0.1% of elite level athletes at 65 years of age. Because most people, and when I say most, I'm going to say 99,000 out of 100,000, like, there's such a small amount of people that can actually do them well and not hurt themselves to get a benefit from it. They're just not built for that. The body's had too many years of wear and tear, too many years of gravity, too many years of getting banged up to go do something that dynamic and explosive. So what's the best way to train for power and not hurt our people, but get that benefit? When we know power training is the best, all of these articles said so, okay? And they get you stronger. That's the other cool part of this is not only did it get you stronger, but it made you more powerful. If you were training for power, you also got stronger. If you were training for strength, yeah, you probably got a little more powerful, but not as powerful as you could had you been training for power. So both showed significant improvements. But if we're not doing chapters or parts of your training for your, I'm going to say 50 and over, okay, even though this looked at 65 and over, if you're not doing at least part of your training on a regular basis, I would say a 5 to 8 minute section of every workout, if not once a week for sure, that's not dedicated to people moving something quickly. And this could be as simple as fast drop step lunges, learning how to catch yourself from falling backwards and then driving back to the standing position. These are all very, very valuable. They're dynamic, they're explosive. What do we call that? That's power training. And when people are more powerful, they're stronger on each independent limb, my left leg and then my right leg. And you can do that in multiple directions. I can step forward on my left. I can drop step on my left. I can lateral step on my left. I can do all that quickly. Well, now I prevent or reduce, I shouldn't say prevent. Now I reduce drastically the risk of me falling. I mean, we want as much fall prevention, strength, coordination, balance, power, all this, hand-eye, all of it, spatial awareness. We want as much of that as we can get. But none of that, any of that training we just talked about is possible if you don't have a base level of strength and if you're not learning to manipulate and move your body around quickly. And we've talked about strategies for doing so with the aging body. You have arthritis, you have disc degeneration, you have hip replacements, joint replacements, you have bone degeneration, you have sarcopenia, muscle degeneration, you have all these things going against you, let alone any other kind of disease, plus just the deconditioned, under-muscled nature of aging without training. We've got all of those things going against us with the aging body. We've got to do it the smart way. But is there a way to do it? Absolutely. 100% there is a way to do that. And if you want to know, all I need is your credit card number. Go to our website. I'm teasing. We produce lots of stuff. I gave you good stuff here today. But yeah, I mean, we do have programs. There are programs out there that focus on power training for older adults, okay? And if you need to learn how to do that, go do it. If you happen to pick us, I love and appreciate it, so thank you very much. If not, there are other great organizations out there. I encourage you to learn. Never stop learning. My name is Robert Linkle. This is trainingtheolderadult.com. If you like the channel, you like the content we're putting out, please like and subscribe. Hit the little bell, make sure you don't miss anything. Share with your friends and family members. If this is something that you know somebody needs to hear, please share that out with them. We appreciate you helping us grow our community. I love and appreciate all of you. Thank you again for listening. And until next time, please continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia, and we'll see you in the next one.